From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Chris Terrell Podcast. I am your host, Chris Terrell, and welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you, champion? What new challenges did you encounter? But more importantly, what failure did you go through, and what lesson did you get from that failure? Come on now. Don't let a perfectly good failure go by without you getting your lesson. That's your reward for your troubles. Now, if you're new here, I've lost 125 pounds myself after an entire adulthood chronic yo-yo dieting. Up, down, again. Before I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I made some permanent, meaningful, and actual changes to my real-life lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, community, and to my systems of belief. Because it's all of those things that created the results in my life, and if I wanted to get new results, I was going to have to go change those. And it's all those that create the results in your life as well. And now I'm here each week helping to coach you through and talk you through your entire weight loss journey. It is going to take some time. Mine took me 26 months. 26 months of changes, 26 months of sacrifices, 26 months of additions, 26 months of constant failure, slipping up, learning something new, figuring out how to apply it, failing again, slipping up, learning something new, figuring out how to apply it, and eventually over time I started running out of things to fix. Which is weird because it seemed like that was never going to be the case, because over there for a while it seemed like it was an endless string of things to fix. But here's the thing I know. As long as you don't quit, you'll make it. As long as you don't quit, you will make it. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know what sort of pain you're going to endure along the way, but I know you will endure some. But I know that if you just don't give up and don't quit, you'll make it. You'll make it. You might be bloodied, metaphorically speaking. You might be bruised, metaphorically speaking. Your pride might be all sorts of mushed up and mangled, but that's all right. You'll be just fine. You see, it only feels like you're sacrificing on this end of the journey, when you're in the middle of it. But when you get to the other side, when you've lost all the weight and you're looking back, reflecting on all those changes you've made, you don't call it a sacrifice. You don't call them a sacrifice anymore. When you do this for you, when you get to reap all the benefits of everything you've done, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice at all. You realize you just upgraded everything in your life. Now I want to tell you about a story that just happened to me just recently. I've decided I'm going to start going to the gym again. And I've gotten a little burned out of running. And so I've pivoted, as one does when you get bored of a form of fitness. You don't just give up fitness altogether, because that's what the old me did. Oh, I'm bored. So what are you going to do instead? Nothing. Well, I know better. Don't give up what you're doing for nothing, right? You got to do something. So I've started strength training again. I'm really enjoying it. And one of my favorite things to do, is to hang out in the steam room. I love that at the end. It's like my reward. I go in there. I don't bring my phone. I don't know how long I'm in there. And I just be with my thoughts. And it's crazy. The moment I sit down in there with no stimulus, with nothing in this empty room, immediately my brain's like, we have all these amazing ideas that we need to go do right now. And it's really uncomfortable in here. Why would you want to be here? And I have this little fun battle with my brain. I love it. Anyway, so I was in the gym the other day, and there was this guy there, and I could hear him talking loudly because it's an echoey room. He wasn't like shouting. It was just a loud room, and he was talking about his weight loss. And he had said something like he'd lost like 50 pounds or something already. He was talking to this guy about it, and I could tell he was really juiced to be talking about this. He was really excited, very proud of himself. That's as well he should have been. And I could just hear him. And I love hearing somebody talk about their weight loss journey, because it's just, I know how happy it made me to get to share mine, because it was such a transformative experience. I love just giving somebody else the opportunity to share their story. It's one of my favorite things to do when I meet someone. It's like, tell me about your weight loss journey. Tell me all the little nitty gritty details that nobody else wants to hear about. I want to hear them all of them. I want to hear every little story. Anyway, so I was just listening. The guy doesn't know who I am. I don't know who he is. He doesn't know what I do. And so I go get in the steam room, and I sit there. Now in the steam room, it's sometimes you're social, sometimes you're not. It kind of depends on the people that are in there. And so I'm in there in the steam room, and the dude had jeans on, and I just It's hot in a steam room, okay? Like it's when I say it's not a sauna, it's a steam room. Like you can barely see to the other side of the little small room. It's so full of steam. It's like 110 degrees and you have to like chew the air. And he's in there in jeans. I was like, man, you're brave coming here with jeans. Like it's hot. And so that struck up a little conversation and we were talking and something came up. He brought it up, it came up with weight loss. And I was like, yeah, I lost a lot of weight too. I used to be just about 300 pounds. And so we started talking about it a little bit and it came up what I do. And in there we started having a little conversation. We're in the steam room trying to distract ourselves from how miserable we are. And he was talking about exercise and everything. I was like, did you know that exercise isn't actually that big of a deal on weight loss? He goes, really? I was like, well, yeah. I was like, did you know you burn just like 100 calories just being alive? Like just being there existing. He goes, no, I didn't know that. And I was like, I'm sitting there thinking like, well, what information could I leave this guy with? And, thinking of the conversation we just had. And I thought, I'll bet this guy doesn't know about the 4 gas tanks. And that's something I've learned on my journey and something I teach people is about the 4 gas tanks in our body. Did you know you have 4 gas tanks in your body? And so this guy, he didn't know. And that's like, oh man, let me tell you about this. This is going to blow your mind. This is going to change things for you when you understand this. I was like, all right. So, because what he was thinking was like, exercise is this end all be all. I was like, no, when you understand the 4 gas tanks, you begin to realize it's not the actual big deal. So let's explain how about this, because a lot of people want to complicate weight loss. And you know why? Because complicated sells. If I don't know how you are, but for me, if something sounds too simple, I just sometimes assume that it doesn't work. So what I want to do though, is I want to teach you how your body stores and uses energy so that you can make smarter choices. And that's what I want to do. I want to give you the information that I gave this guy. Because at the end of the conversation, the guy's like, man, this last 5 minutes, I've learned a ton. And this was very helpful. And as we were walking away, I was like, I think I'm going to share this on the podcast. If this guy found this useful, I'm willing to bet you as a podcast listener, you're on the same journey as this guy. You're probably going to find it useful too, just like I found it useful. So I want you to just remember this for a second. Just remember this. Weight loss isn't magic. It's just fuel management. That's all it is. It's fuel management. All right. So let's talk about the 4 gas tanks concept. All right. Number 1, it's your stomach, your digestive system. You see, this is where food starts before getting fully broken down. The moment you start chewing, you have begun digestion. You've begun the process of digestion. You're breaking the food down. And you're breaking it down into smaller and smaller elements so that your body can use it. And so you're storing, and essentially you are storing energy in your digestive tract. Then from there, you move to energy storage number 2, which is the bloodstream. The bloodstream. You go directly from the intestines right directly into the bloodstream. This is your short-term energy. This is where glucose, that sugary stuff, is stored for immediate use. Now, I'm going to quickly go through these and we're going to break them apart. Then we have glycogen. Glycogen is something I had never heard of. I'd never heard of glycogen before. Glycogen is short-term energy storage as well. I want you to think of it like if you were to come to my house in the winter and you had a coat on and you're coming for dinner, I would take your coat and I need to put it somewhere. Now, you're going to want your coat back, so I'm going to put it somewhere easy to get to, like the coat closet. I would not go take your coat and go put it up in a box in the attic. Long-term storage. Why? Because you're going to need it soon. I want you to think of short-term energy storage with the glycogen as the coat closet. It's where your body just puts energy. It's like, I'm going to put it here because I'm going to probably need some of this soon. And then you have their last gas tank, which is your fat stores. It's your long-term energy storage. You could think of it like the attic or the basement. And this is where you're storing all of this excess energy for later. So the stomach holds your food, the blood holds your fuel, the glycogen holds your backup, and the fat holds your future. So let's talk about the stomach, all right? The food processor. All right. I call it a gas tank. All right. I do that to keep it simple, because you are storing energy there. And once it's in there, by and large, you can't really get to it, right? Your body's going to do what it's doing. But It's not quite accurate to say the stomach is a storage system. It's really more where food is broken down. It's where the processing of it begins. Like you could think, if we're going to take the gas analogy, it's crude oil coming in and it's being broken down and refined into gasoline that your car can use. Your body is taking this food that is in an unusable state for your body, and it is breaking it down into individual elements that your body can then use. And it's absorbed via the intestines directly into the bloodstream, where the real energy storage actually begins. This is where the body can actually dip into that energy very quickly. So you can think of the absorption in the intestines. It's like putting gas in your car, right? That's actually what that's like. So fun fact, by the way, you want to know a little fun fact? I'm going to give you a handful of fun facts today. Did you know your body only has about a teaspoon of sugar in the bloodstream at any given moment? 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. Do you know how much sugar is in a soda? Go look that up. So look, your body is not a mystery, okay? It's a machine. You feed it right, you move it right, it's going to work right. Just remember that. All right, so let's talk about that bloodstream, though. All right, so you've pumped the gas into the bloodstream. So your blood sugar, so you have sugar now in your blood, blood sugar levels, right? All right, it needs to stay within a range, okay? There's a safe range that it generally needs to stay within. And excess glucose, if your body starts going to the top end of the range or above it, your body's going to be like, okay, this is too much. We can't have this much in the blood. And it's going to either get stored as glycogen, used as energy, or converted to fat. One of those three, right? Your body's going to try to get it out of the bloodstream. Insulin's job is to shuttle that energy to the right place. Insulin's not the enemy. Somehow insulin became the bad guy of weight loss, all right? And people blame it for weight gain. Insulin is just the delivery truck. If you're gaining fat, if you're getting bigger year over year, it's not because of insulin. It's real simple. It's because there's too much energy coming into your body, period. End of story. That's it. You are taking in more energy than your body needs if you are gaining weight. So think of your blood like rush hour traffic. Only so much can fit in it before things slow down and begin to back up. All right, now let's move to the next one. Glycogen, the coat closet, as it were. So this is your quick access storage for energy. Now, glycogen is fascinating. It's a fascinating thing if you've never heard about it, if you don't know anything about it. First, did you know that glycogen is about 2,000 calories? 2,000 calories. And it weighs about 5 pounds. This is not body fat. This is quick access energy that your body stores in the body. Now, do you know where it stores it? When I first heard of glycogen, it's like, cool, great. Where is it? Where does it go? So at first, it's found in your muscles, your bicep, your legs, every muscle, and the liver. Now, here's another interesting fun fact. Muscle glycogen can only be used by the muscles. So, and the other part is, have any of you ever, you're the keto person, right? You go on keto and you drop like 10 pounds right away. Or 5 pounds the first few days. So if you feel that, or even if you just feel flat after a few days of dieting and you have that sudden rush, it actually might not be fat loss. It might just be, in the case of keto, it 100% is, it's because your glycogen stores are low. This is why athletes will carb load before events to max them out. So that glycogen, when you eat it, the one that's in the muscle, that gets stored in the muscles, not when you eat it, the glycogen that your body stores after eating, and the one that's stored in the muscles, that is used by the muscles. So the muscle will use the energy that's stored within it. And so again, that's why we load it up. Now, glycogen is constantly going up, it's going down. It's sort of a buffer, an energy buffer for your system, because you're not constantly eating food all the time, and your body's individual energy needs are constantly going up and down and all over the place. So you need a bit of an energy buffer to smooth it out, like I think a capacitor, I think that's what that does. And so you also, many people, when they go on keto, they talk about losing water weight. See, glycogen binds with water molecules, and this is why low-carb diets cause initial weight loss. It's because you're losing the glycogen and the accompanying water that comes with it. So This is also why sometimes you eat a bunch of carbs and the scale goes up. It's because you just topped off your glycogen. Yeah, you haven't actually gained any fat. So think of it this way. A full glycogen tank means it's like you can't put any more coats in the closet, right? You can't put any more coats in that closet. It's completely packed. And so you got to go put them somewhere else. And so now we have our fourth energy storage place in the body, and that's the attic. That's the metaphor for fat. You see, fat is your body's long-term energy storage. Now, unlike glycogen, it is limitless. It's not actually limitless, but we could call it limitless. It's a huge amount that your body is capable of storing. And here's the problem. Once your body has converted energy to fat, your body doesn't like dipping into the fat unless it has to. It doesn't want to do it. Fun fact. Do you know how fat leaves the body? I just always assumed we peed and pooed it out and sweated it out. No, you actually breathe it out as carbon dioxide. I had no idea. Like, so when you're laying there asleep at night, you are breathing out fat. All day long, you are breathing out fat whenever the fat is going to leave the body. And there's two kinds of fat, actually. I think you should maybe know this. One is visceral fat, and then you have subcutaneous fat. So subcutaneous is the one that's under your skin. But you see, the really, truly problematic one is visceral fat. That's the fat that's contained around your organs. This is why somebody could actually be skinny, but still have unhealthy fat on them. They're skinny fat is the term for it. And so just being skinny doesn't mean you're healthy. It just means you're skinny. We got to look at your fat mass and where your fat is stored and your waist to height ratio to see if you're where your healthy fat is, or well, the unhealthy fat to see if it's gone. But think of it this way. If you want to burn fat, you have to stop making sure all the other tanks have energy in them. Because if your body has plenty of food coming in, it's not going to go into fat stores. It's just going to use the food it gives you. Your body prefers to use the food that's going directly from your digestion into your bloodstream. That's what your body prefers to use first. It's already there. But what happens if you take in a bunch of energy and then you sit? So your body's not using it. Now, keep in mind, when I say using it, you have to understand every single cell in your body requires energy. Every cell in your body requires it. So if you're not moving very much, you're not creating a demand for the energy in your blood to be expended beyond what your just typical basal metabolic rate is, right? Like every beat of your heart requires energy. The cells doing their work requires energy. Your immune system requires energy. Thinking requires energy. So there's plenty of energy being consumed all the moments of all the days. But that's just the BMR, your basal metabolic rate. You can actually use something called NEAT movement, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's just regular old movement. You can use that to trigger more energy to leave the body. So your body prefers using food and glycogen first. If those are always full, you're never going to burn fat. So the trick here is create a steady flow of energy leaving the body. So when the energy is getting in the blood, it has somewhere to go. You have to use it. Movement helps. Movement helps a ton. When you're trying to lose weight, you need to adopt an active lifestyle. This is why I like to harp on the chair to chair to chair to chair life. You see, what matters most is creating a consistent energy demand that is greater than your consistent intake. You need to be expending more energy than you are taking in. And you can always take in more energy than your body can burn. So, seriously, just think about it. If your body never needs to dip into its fat stores, then it never will. It never will. Now, before we continue, I need to talk about something for a second. If you're stuck with your weight, I just want you to know that it's not because you're lazy, and it's not because you lack willpower. It's probably because nobody's taught you how to actually lose weight and keep it off in a way that actually works for real life. Like, no one's ever taught you how to lose weight and still enjoy the foods you love. But you see, that's exactly what I do inside the Guild of Champions. And I have been building this weight loss program for years to make it what I believe is the best weight loss program out there. Now, it's not just about losing weight though, right? Because we're not here to diet our way down and just hope and pray that it sticks. This time, maybe it'll work. We're not doing that. You see, those that are in the guild, a community of champions, they're there to become thin, to become a thin person, but not just thin, because becoming thin isn't the end all be all, not by any stretch. You see, those that are in the guild are there to learn how to become thin, how to become healthy, and how to become happy and in shape. Now, you might be thinking, all right, I think I might want to join this guild. I'm kind of curious about it, but I am just so worried about getting overwhelmed, about getting burned out. Now, I don't want to throw you into the deep end. So if you join the guild, I'll guide you through a 4-week cohort. I'm going to take you step by step, all right? You're not just going to get dumped into a community and be like, figure it out. I did used to do that. Now, for your first 4 weeks, you're in a group with people just like you, new people that are joining the guild at the same time, getting the same guidance, and I personally am going to coach you through that. It's a small group, and I'll show you exactly what to focus on. I'll answer all your questions that you have, and I'll make sure you get a starting point moving forward. But here's the truth, though. People do come to the guild for the knowledge. They come to learn about the mechanics and how to lose weight and what they need to learn about themselves. But people come and they stay for the community, because a personal transformation rarely happens alone. You see, the right people, the right support, and the right environment, that is what truly makes a difference. So if you're ready to finally get unstuck, to start moving toward the life you actually want, the time is now. Because here I'm opening the doors for 5 days, and then they close again. 5 days. So click the link in the show notes, or if you're listening to this in time, you can head on over to theguildofchampions.com and you can register and you can join the guild there. Okay. Let's circle back to the topic. And let's talk about the takeaways. What do I want you to take from this episode? The key to fat loss. Stop overfilling the tanks, and you need to create a steady demand for stored energy, AKA eat less, move more. You do not and will not lose all of your weight by accident. You'll lose it by design. You're going to have to design a way of living that causes you to eat less. You're going to have to design a way of living that causes you to move more. And if you're near the beginning of the journey, you're going to have to do this for like 2 years. You're going to have to regularly and slowly and steadily increase the movement in your life, bit by bit, by bit, by bit, by bit, by bit, by bit. You are not supposed to just suddenly jump up, because that'll be overwhelming. We have to give your actual life a chance to keep pace. We have to just keep raising the bar. Now, you don't have to guess your way through this, though. I mean, you can try. I tried. It works okay, but you got to really stop and learn as you're going. You have to make sure you're learning. And I discovered if I have good quality people around me that know the right information, I can accelerate that learning curve. And just like today, once you understand how energy is stored and used, honestly, I think weight loss just makes sense for most of us. Because you see, your body follows orders. You know, the problem is most people don't know what orders they're giving their body. You're always giving your body's order, or you're always telling it what to do. And here's the thing, though. The results you got in your life, you didn't get them because of 1 or 2 choices. The way you gain the weight is as a result of thousands and thousands of choices made one at a time. You're going to need to lose weight the same way you gained it. One choice at a time, again and again and again. But fortunately, small changes do compound. I mean, that's how you got here. That's how you gained all the weight. And that's how you're going to get out of it. One change, one step, then another. One step, then another. It's just what's required to get the success that you're looking for. You see, some people think their body is trying to be fat, or it's fighting being thin. But that's not what it's doing. What your body is always trying to do is to stay balanced, to be in homeostasis. You've got to use your conscious mind to outsmart your body's predisposition to just staying the same. So if you're a bigger person, your body wants to stay there. But as you lose weight, your body is sort of always wanting to be where it is. And you have to gently coax it, encourage it, and steadily increase the movement in your life and steadily increase the muscle mass on your body, because your muscles are like a burning fire that will make it where you can keep the weight off so much easier. But you see, if you keep overfilling your gas tanks, if you just keep eating, you're never going to burn the fat. It is moving and it's eating less. You have to do both. If you only do one, you're not likely to get the results that stick. All right, we're going to wrap up here. I hope this episode of the podcast was great. If you get some value from the podcast, please consider leaving a rating and a review on your podcasting platform of choice. If you're ready to get serious about weight loss, you're ready to raise the bar, consider joining the Guild, a community of dedicated champions. Look, everybody in there is at different points in the journey, but they're all there because they're serious about working on themselves, advocating for themselves, and making themselves the number one priority in life. Come to the Guild and I'll show you how to stop guessing and how to start becoming. Subscribe to the podcast, follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, give it a like and a comment, especially on Spotify. I'd love to hear from you. I love reading your comments, hearing what stands out to you. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Chris Terrell Podcast. Talk to you later.